Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and welcome back to Hymn Stories, a new video series that I'm posting on Mondays. And with this video series, I'm working through my Pocket Bible journaling kit from By the Well for God. I use the little cards that they provided in the kit, and I just embellished them and put the hymn story on the back side of each card. So today's hymn is Jesus Paid It All. This is one of my husband's favorite hymns, and he wanted me to figure out the backstory on it. But first off, let me kind of talk to you about this Heidi Swapp Minc Machine. So I've had this Minc Machine for about a year now, and I really want to start using it more. I really like the look that it gives, but it is a little bit of work to get it out, to get it heated up, and to do all the stuff with the toner. So what I suggest is if you have a Minc Machine or looking at purchasing one, when you use it, make sure you use it to the best of its ability and just kind of go around and have fun and just start minking everything. And then you'll have kind of a stash of stuff, and that is exactly what I did here. For those of you who may not know, this machine foils paper. And so how it does it is it uses toner. And so this little glass bottle actually holds black toner, and I'm just spreading it out over my stamp and then pressing the paper into the stamp. Now you want to clean your stamps pretty fast after using this. You could also use a laser printer and just print out a word and foil that. There's a couple different options. There's also a texture paste that I have that I honestly haven't used yet, but that sticks the foil down too. So basically what happens is you will have this toner down on your piece of paper, and then you'll send it through this machine, which is basically like a laminator. The only difference is this has different heat settings, and this will make the foil stick to your paper. And what I like to do is set it aside for a little bit to let it dry, and then I'll peel the foil off a couple minutes later. Some other things to note with this machine is some papers work better than others with it. You can also have different generational kind of rolling of the ink. So sometimes the ink that is later in your rolls works better because it's stickier. And so honestly, I probably should have done one before I did the journaling card, but it was my first one and I end up really liking it. I don't mind the black look coming through a little bit on the card. It kind of makes it look more aged to me, so it doesn't bother me. But if you want full coverage, make sure to have your toner ink super sticky. So roll it a couple times on something else first, and usually you'll get a better impression that way. The old ledger paper from the 1850s actually worked the best with the Minc Machine, so I can't wait to try that out more in the future. So now I'm moving on with the rest of my card. I am using this picture. This is from a Tim Holtz Ephemera pack of a bunch of old pictures. This is not obviously the lady who wrote Jesus Paid It All, but I used it as a representation of her. So now that we're kind of talking about her, let me give you the backstory of this hymn. Jesus Paid It All was written in 1865 by Elvina M. Hall. She was sitting in her church service in Baltimore, Maryland, when her pastor started to pray, and the prayer was fairly long, and her mind started to wander a little bit about thinking about the price that Christ had paid for us on the cross. And so she just was thinking about it and just came up with this poem during his prayer, but she didn't have anywhere to write down this poem, and so she ended up scribbling it out on the hymn book flyleaf. And so that is where she first wrote Jesus Paid It All, which is kind of funny because it ends up being one of these really well-known hymns. But anyways, she brought it to her pastor that Sunday, and he had also received some music from the church's organist earlier in the week, and when he put the two together, they matched up perfectly. And so that is where you actually get the hymn lyrics with also the tune of the hymn. So thanks to a church that was giving hymn books away near my parents, I have a ton of hymn books to use, and so I decided to grab Jesus Paid It All, and I ripped it out of the hymn book so I could use it as a layering piece on this journaling card. And I really wanted to showcase those first two stanzas, and so I'm posting it so that I can also see those when I put the picture down. So I felt like this card needed a little bit more texture, and so I grabbed some ribbon that I have from Hobby Lobby. I grabbed a new color of this velvet trim that I had gotten before, and I am going to layer this down, but also I wanted to add some of the lace because I just felt like this was such a great Victorian picture and everything that I wanted to incorporate that as well. Now this lace already has a nice cream tone to it. It's not that super stark white, but I did want to age it even more. So instead I grab my makeup brush that is constantly covered in some form of brown Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to brush that across this lace. It takes the ink pretty well. I just want to make sure I have some paper underneath, and then that will bring that aged look out even more. I am going to attach this lace to that velvet trim I have. So I'm going to actually use that Barely Arts Precision Glue to glue it down. But first off, I'm going to glue down the picture. Since I know I'm not sliding anything underneath the picture, I can officially glue it down. I was kind of waiting to make sure I wasn't layering anything else underneath the picture first. So I'll lay that down and cut off the excess, and then we'll start working on that ribbon. Now you could decide to stitch these two trims together, or you could glue it like I did, or you could use Fabri-Tac glue, which might be a little bit easier than this Barely Arts Precision Glue. I just don't like Fabri-Tac as much as some people do. I don't like how stringy it gets, and so that's why I chose the Barely Arts glue. Plus, I am using this little safety pin to connect them as well. This is just more so as an embellishment than anything, but it will hold those two together no matter what. Now, whenever possible, I try to add the hymn name to the front side of each card. And so this is going to be super simple because I've already used the hymn book page and I can just cut that name out of there. Now, it also has a verse below it which matches perfectly, and I'll tuck that in to that spot in the Bible. And that verse is 1 Peter 2:24, which says, "He himself bore our sins in his body on the tree, that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. By his wounds you have been healed." So I'll distress those edges up because this hymn book isn't too old, so I really like to add some aging to it. And then I will glue those ribbon pieces down as well right below it so you can still see that verse. After that, I'll simply be able to tuck this card into my pocket journaling Bible. That is what I love about these Bibles, is you can do the journaling outside of the page and simply tuck them in. Eventually, when this Bible gets super chunky, I'll just make a little pile of all my cards together. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll link everything below, including that pocket journaling Bible kit from By the Will for God. Make sure you pick one up if you haven't yet. I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.